This is Hegor the Barbarian. Regular subscribers will know him well, as he features in the introduction to the Random DOS game show 4 out of every 5 weekdays. But why did Hegor get there? What made him so special that he deserves a more prominent spot than any other game on this channel? Well, Hegor is the protagonist of Barbarian, an 80s side-scrolling platform game released by the unpronounceable the people who published Lemmings. Them. Barbarian is quite possibly the worst high-profile game I've ever played on the show. Sure, there have been 80s text games that are technically worse, but they weren't published by a major studio. Barbarian was. It even had big box artwork from famous cover artist Roger Dean. But why is it so bad? Well, the control scheme is also like Lemmings, except instead of a clever real-time puzzler where you have leeway, you have a hack and slasher where one false move kills you instantly. I've only played the DOS version of Barbarian, and as I pointed out in my Importance of Ports video, that means I might not have even played the best version. Turns out the original was released for the Atari ST, with Amiga and Commodore versions, and ports to the Amstrad and even the ZX Spectrum. So, in the spirit of morbid curiosity, I decided to play some of the more notable Barbarian ports, and see if any of them were salvageable. Come Hegor, your redemption awaits you! We start with the original Atari ST version, and the colour palette is much better than the DOS port. Hegor has never looked so good. Plus the hardware mouse support from the Atari emulator is a godsend. But unfortunately the original controls remain, with your mouse controlling the bar at the bottom with frantic clicks that will guarantee early onset arthritis. The graphics are improved, and the sounds are far better than that squealing PC speaker of the DOS version, but the terrible controls make for some great highlights. Hegor manages to lose his sword after heroically running away, dies repeatedly to various monsters, and spectacularly backflips onto a falling block trap. It was at this point that I abandoned my playthrough. The Amiga version came next, and I managed to get this beautiful cutscene of Hegor breaking a chain with his sword. Yeah, Hegor, show that chain what you're made of! Our dumb barbarian unfortunately still had the same controls, but this time he transformed into a circus acrobat, effortlessly leaping over monsters and making it further than ever before. Not enough to score, unfortunately, because after a set number of deaths, the game won't let you continue. This port wasn't any better than the original, but that still means it was superior to the terrible DOS version. It was then I discovered the Shadow's Nose and their playthrough of Barbarian for various other systems. I clicked through and each of them featured varying levels of graphical fidelity and gameplay difficulty, but they all had one thing in common: that terrible control scheme. Fortunately, there's one discovery I made about the controls that gives us hope. You see, our hopeless hunk of hobbling heroism can be controlled by the function keys. So if you boot up the original Atari ST version in an emulator and bind the function keys to a gamepad, you can now control your Barbarian effortlessly. Will this result in me creating a special long play of this most tragic of games? No. Hegor will be relegated to the introductory video of my Random DOS game show for the rest of time, accompanied by the word terrible, a fitting fate for such an awful game. Wait, there was a sequel?
Terrible.